welcome guys. Bear with me for a second. I'm just trying to get everything up and running, and then we will go and start talking about leash work. It's all about leash work again tonight. Last night we talked about it quickly, but we just ended up having a lot of people stop in and ask more questions, which I loved. So we're live on Facebook. Now are we live on YouTube? That's the question. Coach. There we go. I'm live on everything. There we go. Perfect. Streaming. Saying it's live, so it's got to be up and running. I'm hoping. Says it's up, so we should be good to go. It's weird that it's not posting though. There we go. We're up and running. So tonight's going to be all about talking about leash work again. Last night we did a little bit of leash work, talking about reactivity, and tonight we're going to dive a little bit deeper on that, starting off with breaking down how do we get our dogs behaving properly, how do we keep the mindset nice and calm, and then any questions you guys have in between. So let's get into it. Last night we talked about a lot about desensitization. What we're trying to do with desensitization is break down the thought process of the anxiety versus the trauma. Most times dogs are reactive. It starts off before we even get outside. They start getting a little bit nervous, and they'll start to fall apart real quick. And so when we talk about the walk, the first thing I want to do again is break down where we're starting, where we're getting overwhelmed. If that means your dog is getting chased on the leash and you can't get your dog on the leash, hey, how's it going? Welcome. Hopefully your pup is doing very well, and feel free, reach out, send me some comments on what's going on with the pup. Welcome guys. My name is Jack. I am a positive reinforcement trainer that focuses on rescue rehabilitation. So tonight we're talking a little bit more about leash work, and feel free, ask me some questions if you have problems with your dog on the leash. Very common that it happens. It's probably my biggest hitter. How's it going, Onyx? One of the biggest hitters I have is leash work. Reactivity when it comes to dogs, people, whatever the case may be. So in this chat tonight, we're going to go over some of the traumas and how to make it pleasurable for you on the walk. Start talking about basically desensitizing. And what I mean by desensitizing is if I know my dog is going to start running away as soon as the leash comes out, I'm going to do my very best to start breaking it down so it's not so intimidating for my dog. Meaning, if I know I grab the harness and my dog scampers, what I'm going to do is, and thanks for the follow, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get the leash out or the harness out. I'm going to put it on the table. Maybe I'm going to put some treats around it, just a little bit, just so my dog basically smells it, comes up, sees it, engages, and then I take it, I put it away again. It's important that we don't have it out and we don't be overwhelming with anything. Anything we do, desensitization, I focus on fear-free methods. What is, I don't know what that means, my friend, but hello. When it comes to desensitizing, my whole premise of it is how do we make it as fear-free as possible? How do we make it without any resistance, where my dog's not going to have a reaction? And so I want to start off putting the leash down, put some treats around it, get a good atmosphere around that. But then pick it up and don't take your dog for the walk. That's the important part with desensitizing. It's not all about putting it down, making your dog wait, and then going outside. It's about changing it up so your dog doesn't really know whether or not you're going outside or not, because then it takes away some of that feeling of, oh my goodness, we're going, okay, I see the harness, I see the leash, and then they start freaking out. So start desensitizing with the harness or leash. And welcome, guys. If you have questions, please jump in at any time. Which reminds me, I gotta fix this. So what happens when your dog sits when you say lay down? What's happening is your dog is laying down. What I would do is I wouldn't reward the lay down. A lot of times what happens is people will reward any behavior, and what we get is what we call learned laziness. And what that is that your dog just says, you know what, I'm going to do whatever, just give me the treat. You don't get precision. So I would try to hold a treat, take a treat, hold it up over your dog's head. Instead of them going down, change it up. If they lay down, move a foot back, get them to come to you, try sit again. It's important that you keep your dog moving. It's not about saying, no, sit, sit, sit. It's not about getting upset. It's about figuring out, where am I losing my dog? Dog lays down, get him to move ahead, get him to sit again, hold a treat over his head. As I do with my fake dog, take the treat, hold it so high that it kind of wants to go for it, move back, he's going to sit down, give him the reward. It's important to mark when he does it right away, and that way you can keep on track. Instead of waiting, it's almost like saying someone's telling you good job 30 seconds later when you can't speak their language. Be precise about it, so give that mark right away. Yes, that's what I'm looking for, if that makes sense. Hopefully I answered it properly for you. So yeah, so going back to the leash work, what I want to focus on here, and welcome guys, if you have questions, please jump in at any time. What I want to be focusing on is first making it fun, not making it overwhelming for the dog. Starting off with just simple stuff. Desensitizing. Put the harness down for a few minutes, pick it up, put it away. Put it down, pick it up. Change it up. You're not taking your dog out every time you have it out. You're just literally just putting it down, letting your dog smell it. You can put it on your arm. So one thing I do a lot when I'm desensitizing, because dogs will pick up on habits really quick. So one thing you can do is start off with having the harness on the ground, desensitize it just on the ground, not really doing anything with it, and then start off with having it in your hand, right? So you're giving a treat from a distance. You just start slowly building up closer and closer. What this is going to do again, it's going to make your dog curious, maybe a little bit apprehensive, but you're trying to be as safe as possible with it. You're not trying to rush the process. You're trying to make sure that it's a good experience. Welcome guys. If you have questions, please let me know. My name is Jack. I'm a reward-based trainer that focuses on rescues. So with that, breaking it down, desensitizing the harness. Once the harness gets really easy for you and it becomes fun again, then I start utilizing tools such as maybe putting it on, just putting half on your dog's neck and then taking it off. Again, you're trying to break apart. It's not that you're not ever going to take your dog outside. It's not about that. It's just about trying to curb the edge of your dog getting overwhelmed. That's the biggest problem. You want to curb that edge so that way your dog's not overwhelmed over the situation. So break that down slowly, and then once that's on and that's okay, then life starts getting a little bit more simpler. You're not chasing your dog around everywhere because you've broken it down. I would say desensitizing the harness is probably one of the most important tools of the walking, because when you desensitize this, then you're not starting off on the wrong foot. You're not already starting with your dog nervous. You're keeping the dog nice and calm. Welcome, guys. Welcome. If you have questions, please don't hesitate. Reach out. Sylvia, it's good to see you. It's been a while since we've last chatted. Um, what we're talking about tonight is all about leash reactivity. We tried to do it last night, and then we kind of got caught up with answering questions about different dogs, different situations. So tonight we're going to tackle it again. And so if you guys have questions, please let me know, because especially not so much in this weather, people are kind of, they're definitely bunkering down for this terrible cold weather, but nevertheless, you should get a good routine going on for when the warm weather does approach. If you live in a condo or an apartment building, even better. That way you can get some good exposure in the hall, get some good walk time. You don't always have to be outside when it comes time for stimulating your dog. You can do it in the house, you can do it with family members, you can do it outside in the hallway. In fact, if you have a reactive dog, this is almost more important for me, is doing reactive training in your condo. You can do it all day long. It doesn't matter. Today it was like just storming like crazy. I could be doing it all day long in a building. So if you live in a building, even better, because you can be training 24/7 almost. Welcome, guys. If you have questions, introduce myself. I'm Jack. I'm a reward-based trainer that focuses on rescue rehabilitation. With leash reactivity, the common in a condo, this is a big one. I handle this very often. It's always hard when you get into an elevator. That's going to be your biggest problem. And so you're not looking for, well, you're looking for success in the elevator, of course, but you're not hoping for a miracle. We have to build up. You wouldn't expect anyone to keep up with NHL players when they've never stepped foot on the ice before. It's all about practicing and building up, so then when the time comes, you're able to get through that process and not be overwhelmed. And that's the big thing. Repetition, repetition, repetition. So if you're having a dog who's reactive in an elevator, as an example, I wouldn't be focusing on the elevator. I'd be focusing on the lobby. I'd be focusing on the front entrance. Anywhere that you can have an escape route. Of course, you have to get on the elevator, and you can do things like you can get, I think they're called thunder caps, which thunder caps are like almost like muffs for the dog's eyes. And what that's doing is it's giving your dog a little bit less relief, or a little bit more relief from the stimulus that they're afraid of. And so you can get them on Amazon, probably 20-30 bucks, not very expensive, but something that can get you through, because you have to take your dog outside. I would be focusing on training like crazy when you get into the lobby, because what we're essentially trying to do is we're trying to build up a tolerance from 20 feet, 30 feet, as far away as you can get, and then building up closer and closer. So what I'd be doing there, especially in an elevator, is going to the lobby and then just waiting around, do some people watching. Sit there, go down. Most people who have lobbies, you got a lounge area of some sort. Just chill out, grab a coffee, wait. You see a dog coming, right away, use your tools that we've talked about last night and the night before. Say things like touch, focus, anything that you can get your dog's basically eyes on you. This is going to be the most important, because if we have our treats, and so I've been filling up my treat jar, actually you can't see it because of the green screen, but get a yummy treat that your dog's going to like and start off there. Start off with the tools in the house where we're doing the sit, rewarding. Then when you see that dog in the lobby, right away give out the command, the cue and the marker. The cue is the command: sit, stay, wait, touch, look at me, whatever the case may be. And then the marker is, as soon as they do it, we say, yes, that's what I'm looking for. So in that situation, when you get downstairs, as soon as you see a dog, don't wait for the reaction. Don't wait for the spillover. Because if you get the spillover, now we're just cleaning up a mess. That doesn't do anything for us. Get your dog frustrated, you're frustrated. We want to make sure that you're stopping your dog before the problem happens. And so as soon as you see that dog, boom, sit, look at me, touch, whatever. Dog looks at you, yes, reward. If you get to the point where your dog is not looking at you and fixating on that other dog, that's information. That's not, I gotta freak out, I gotta It's not about that. It's about understanding your dog is overwhelmed. If your dog is overwhelmed, that means that we got to work further away. Dogs are very simple. You're either too close or too far away. There's not really a whole lot of process in it. So if the dog's too close and I can't get a reaction out of my dog, then that tells me, hey, I got to be X amount of distance away for this dog to feel safe. We can build from there, but we can't build from there if we're 2 feet away in an elevator every time it's traumatic. Because after all, there's two things that happen in training. There's habituation and then there's sensitization. Habituation is the more I get exposed to it, the better I feel, the easier it gets. That's if you have a fear of elevators, as an example. The more I get into it, the more I feel better. Now, sensitization, unfortunately, is the opposite. Sensitization is the more I see it, the more reactive I get, which in the most part, that's what I deal with on a day-to-day basis. People saying my dog used to go to dog parks and now they're freaking out. And welcome, guys. I'm rambling on. I'm Jack, a positive reinforcement trainer that focuses on rescue rehabilitation. Tonight we're kind of talking about leash reactivity, kind of going over everything, just base model stuff that you can work on to get through the holidays, get through the new year, especially if you live in a condo or an apartment building. This is going to be a big hitter for a lot of people. And Sylvia, by the way, how's your pup doing? I think it's been like a couple months since I last seen you. It's been forever. I think we're due for another lesson soon. So work on the stimulation when you're basically, one, you can control it. No therapist is ever going to tell you you suffer from anxiety by seeing snakes. They're not taking you to a zoo and saying, oh, here you go, here's a snake on your lap. It doesn't work that way. That's not the way you rehabilitate things. It's all about exposure therapy. And so have your escape route. Do it in your lobby. Okay, I'm 20 feet away. I see my dog's getting overwhelmed. Boom, hit the exit, get out of there. Reset, do it again. We will talk tomorrow, or I'll shoot you a message after this, or even shoot me some times that work for you. I'll book you in, and let's get updated, because it has been forever. I think the last thing we were working on is staying on the bed and knocking on the door control, reactivity training, if I remember, without looking at your file. But we definitely do need to have another lesson. Charlie, how do I get my dog to not run and bark at the door when someone comes? So just like, so I'm doing multiple lives from different platforms. On Instagram right now, one of my clients, actually, we were doing that as well, stopping your dog from reacting so much. The first question would be, in my professional opinion, would be, how does your dog react to people? Is your dog friendly with people, or is it like just overwhelmed with sounds and just always kind of bantering in the background? There's a lot of questions that goes along with it. I'll try to answer the best I can without seeing your dog, of course, but there's a lot of moving parts to it. But the first question I would say is your dog reactive with people, or is your dog kind of calm and, you know what, I just hear a sound, I bark type deal? That'd be my first question. Welcome, guys, welcome. We're talking about a little bit of reactivity. I started off talking about leash training, and I kind of just go on a side turn and start talking about dogs and different situations. So, but yeah, so I'll keep going on the lobby. Charlie, if you answer that question, I'll give you as much detail as I can about that. It's definitely a common thing that I run into. Barking at the door, running to the door, barking. Very common. Most times it's just a communication error. Sometimes it's a lot of fear, of course, but most times it's just a communication error, so we can definitely work with that. Going back to the leash reactivity in the elevator, specifically the elevator, we're kind of not really talking about leash training. I kind of got off side, but that's okay. Getting into the elevator is going to be the big one, because you can't escape it. Once you get in there, you're hoping that you don't see someone as soon as you get in, and you're like, oh my goodness, hopefully it doesn't go. What I would tell you is that when you do get into the elevator, when you're doing the exposure therapy, you got to take your dog upstairs and downstairs. You have no choice. Make it the path of leash resistance. What can I do that's not going to cause any problems? That's going to be the big thing. So if that means putting that thunder cap on that I talked about earlier, making sure that the dog feels a little bit less stressed by not seeing the dogs, that will definitely help you get outside. But then put your dog against the wall, and don't be afraid to be vocal with people. Say, hey guys, sorry, my dog's really reactive, do you mind? And if they mind, then say, can you just step back? I will get off and I'll get back on. Typically, I know that sounds like a lot of work, but when you give people the context of, hey, don't get in the elevator, people are going to resist. They're going to say, you know what, F you, I need to go outside too. They're gonna kick up a fuss. But if you give that passion, like, hey, look, I'm struggling here, and can you help me? Or if not, just accommodate, step back, I will get off. People will gladly tell you, yeah, no problem, I'll take the next one. When you give people the choice, they'll always try to make the right decision. It's only when you give them the no, don't, anything that makes a resistance, people will always kick back. It's like trying to tell someone don't pet your dog. I work with a lot of reactive dogs jumping up and stuff, and if you tell a guest don't pet my dog, it's okay, I don't mind the dog jumping all over me. That sort of don't, no doesn't work. It doesn't work on your dog, it's not going to work on your guests. Give them a task. Hey, can you not pet my dog for 5 minutes? Or can you, I'm just training, do you mind just sitting down first and then petting the dog, calling the dog over? Give them a task, and what ends up happening is when you give them a task, they'll try their best to accommodate the best they can. Welcome guys, welcome to the chat tonight. We're talking about basically reactivity, whether it's leash work. We're talking about getting outside on the elevator right now. If you have questions, please don't hesitate, reach out. So getting in the elevator, number one, have yourself a plan. Try to put that thunder cap on. As goofy as it's going to look, it will help if your dog's extreme. Second, check out as soon as the elevator opens. If there's a dog in there, don't get in, wait for the next one, and then really get that practice in when you get down in the lobby. My goal is, what I'd be aiming for is, and even with the elevator, a lot of times when dogs have reactivity, they'll start reacting before you get to the elevator. So part of the desensitizing, we talked at the beginning about desensitizing the harness, right? Putting it on the ground, letting the dog smell it, giving them some treats, and then putting it away. Bring it out, let them sniff it, put it away. It's not about having it in their face and saying, okay, 5 minutes and it's going on. It's about letting them think, well, wait a second, here comes that leash or that harness. Oh, would Dad put it away again? Maybe we're not going outside. You start breaking apart that thought process, that gets your dog onto the desensitization, where they're not so overwhelmed. Then when you're desensitizing and we're doing the leash work, when you get to that elevator, your dog might start getting a little bit anxious because I seen this dog. So desensitize that. Go to the elevator, get your dog to sit, go back in the house, reset, take a break. Again, it's all about changing the patterns up so your dog is not just associating the trauma with this is the next move. Because after all, anxiety in a nutshell is a fear that hasn't happened yet. You're projecting a future that hasn't happened. So what happens? You get freaked out and then you start, spiraling. So if you can start doing that, again, desensitize the harness, desensitize the elevator. If it's your dog gets super amped up when you leave the doorway, desensitize that. Desensitizing is breaking apart without freaking out. Because after all, when you start doing the walk, it's not so much about the distance, it's about the time and the quality. Name any person that's going to say you have to work out and don't use your brain. Using your brain, mental stimulation for dogs, for people, is so much importance to it. It's not just about physicality, it's about using your brain. And so dogs are no different. I would take breaks, micro breaks. Don't be afraid to give your dog a break from training. 5-10 minutes. Desensitize for 5 minutes, put the leash away. Finally get the harness on the dog, go to the elevator, sit around for a few seconds, back in the house, take a break. Don't be afraid to take a lot of breaks with your dog, because when you do that, it's going to help them calm down. And welcome guys, my name is Jack. I'm a reward-based trainer that focuses on rescue rehabilitation. Unfortunately, Unfortunately, I can't see anyone on Instagram. I see that there's viewers. I don't know who's on, so welcome, guys. If you have questions, please let me know. I see a lot of my clients, so that's amazing to see. Yeah, welcome. If you have questions, by all means, ask away. I think there was someone asking me earlier about reactivity with a doorway, which I think they left, so we won't continue on. But if you guys have reactive dogs at the door, let me know. This isn't just about leash work. It's just about answering as many questions as I can. I gotta check my chats here. Ignore my Facebook and YouTube. I gotta do one at a time. I'm trying to do too many at once. So when it comes to getting outside, this is going to be the big thing with reactive dogs, is understanding what the trigger is. That's your first goal. If you can figure out what the trigger is, you're already ahead of the game. Then it's a matter of understanding, okay, well, I know when I see a dog around the corner, my dog's going to freak out. I know that when I see Cujo down the street, 3 doors down, my dog's going to freak out. Use those tools for your advantage. You already have the information. Your dog is already telling you everything you need to know. Now it's just a matter of rehabilitating it. What I mean by that is that if you have a dog who's reactive on the leash, especially with the neighbor's dog, then I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to start walking closer. Maybe I'll do a circle around and start heading towards the neighbor's yard or backyard or driveway from the other side. Again, your dog is going to be able to smell. They're going to see it, but at least then you're not right in front of your house. Because if you're right in front of your house, there's a good chance that your dog's just going to say, well, heck with it, let's just go back in the house. So if you change it up, go the opposite way, try to make it all the way around and then start rehabilitating. Because then you're getting a true idea. Is my dog freaking out because he wants to go inside, or is my dog freaking out because the neighbor's dog? If he's freaking out because of the neighbor's dog, amazing. Start off 30 feet away. 30 feet is my minimum that I tell people, and as soon as they start to hesitate, we start rewarding. We get them to sit, we get them to look at us, we get them to touch, we get them to whatever tool that you've been taught to use. And if you haven't, again, in this chat, follow my channel. You'll be able to see lots of content of some of the stuff that I work on personally, but I have some foundation. Usually I work with touch. That to me does a lot for my clients and my dogs. I do touch a lot. So again, follow my channel and you'll see more content about that. But when we go to 30 feet, information given, when my dog starts to tense up, so basically the dog starts to slow down. Okay, now my dog's starting to get a little bit worried. What I'm going to do, bring out one of my cues. Sit, touch, wait, whatever. Look at me, whatever you've been taught. The dog's looking at me, amazing. We're going to give a treat, maybe sit there for a second. We're trying to get the dog nice and calm. If I can go further, even better. Where you want to start calling it quits is when your dog starts saying, you know what, I'm going to put the motivator to the side and I'm going to focus on the trauma, which is the dog. That's why they're reactive. As soon as your dog starts doing that, make a mental note. Okay, I'm 20 feet away from the driveway. My dog's not listening to me anymore. Turn around, go the other way. That way you have a base foundation. Now, it doesn't mean it's a fail. It just means that's the information given that you have right now, is that I could be 20 feet away and still be okay. What I'd be focusing on there is trying to build up from that 20 feet. That's going to be the kicker of it, is trying to get closer and closer. So if you go 20 feet a few times, and then you try to go to, say, 18 feet, and your dog's still kind of looking back at you, perfect. Go to 15 feet. Oh, too much? Scale it back to 18 again. There's no failing in this. It's about, welcome Randy. Feel free, guys, anytime, message me. I'm a reward-based trainer that focuses on rescue rehabilitation and would love to hear about your dog. It doesn't have to be about rescues or reactive training. I pretty much handle any sort of behavior, and so message away. I'd love to hear from you. Once we get to that 15 feet, now we're on the right track. It's all about just taking your time and enjoying the process. At any point, if you're feeling overwhelmed, it's not just about the dog anymore, it's about you and the dog. I get almost every day when I talk to at least 1 or 2 clients, I get a lot of phone calls, people coming in, and I get at least 1 or 2 people say, Jack, I feel like I'm the one making my dog nervous. And it's not that you're causing the fear, but you're certainly not helping it. And that's what I typically tell people. You're not causing the fear, but you being herky-jerky and really nervous definitely doesn't help things. So I would say work as fast as you, or work as good as you can do to where you feel comfortable, but don't be afraid to pull the plug if you need to. Work as far ahead as you can get. Get to 15 feet, perfect. Get to 10 feet, even better. The goal is you want to consistently be getting closer and closer without a reaction. Yeah, welcome guys. If you have questions, please let me know. I'll try to answer the best I can. Bear with me here. Just trying to get this all set up here. Something's going on. How's it going, guys? I'm just trying to set this up. If you have questions, please let me know. I'm a reward-based trainer that focuses on rescue rehabilitation. I keep saying it for anyone who's still in here, but my whole premise of training is to be as calm as I possibly can, not freak out on the dogs, not get mad at the dogs, because after all, the dogs are doing their best. Just like people, just like children. Dogs are always doing their best. It's a little cray-cray. Is your name dedicated to your dog? Because yeah, so the question is for the other chats, the person's dog is allowing the other dog to get close, but then turns to Jekyll and Hyde as soon as they get close. Very common. Most times, in my opinion, most times the dog's not comfortable with it. Most times the dog is putting up with it. They're getting tense, they're getting quiet, they're kind of putting up with it, but they're not really enjoying it. A lot of times we miss a lot of the cues that the dog's giving us. And so when you say that the dog is allowed to, or allows the dog, what is your dog doing? That's an important question, because if your dog's just going tense and quiet, doesn't necessarily mean they're okay. Because I would say most times dog reactivity is not, a lot of times we miss a lot of it, right? It's not intentionally, but what I would look for is, I would look for how's your dog reacting when they see the dog. They see the dog, they tense up, that tells me that the dog's probably not feeling so comfortable. So if she's smelling and walking around, I would be more curious on the context, only because a lot of times your dog is giving off de-escalation tools. So if they're smelling and turning their side, turning away from the other dog, they're trying to say, hey, I'm calm, I'm calm. But then what I would do is I would try to take control of the situation. I wouldn't allow your dog to make all the decisions for them, because clearly you're seeing that there's an issue. And so it's like dealing with a toddler. If I tell my 5-year-old right now, hey, let's go to the grocery store, he's putting us in the water right across the street. He's going to every time, because he thinks he knows what he's doing. Just unfortunately, he's a toddler. He's 5 years old. I don't know if that's still a toddler. Nevertheless, he's a young man that doesn't know what's going on at 5 years old. And so when it comes to the dogs, she may think that she's doing okay, but she has some sort of trauma or fear that makes her a little bit freaked out. And so what I would be doing is I would be stopping, and again, going back to what I say before, if you're just joining, I say, don't ever tell someone no. No doesn't work. If you say, hey, stay away from my dog might be reactive, the first thing people are going to say is, it's okay, my dog loves everyone. That doesn't fix your problem right now. That just makes things worse. Instead, give them a task. Hey, I'm just training my dog a little bit. She's a little bit reactive. Do you mind just like staying like 10 feet away? We're just going to sit here for a minute. I want to see what my dog's going to do. And then you're going to do little things like get your dog to sit, get your dog to touch, get your dog to focus on you, Get them to spin around. If they know any tricks, do something to take their mind off the other dog. If they're not focusing and they're kind of sitting down and staring at that dog, that tells me that the dog is more worried about the dog than you think. And so I would start off with a base, and then again, join my lives. I jump on almost every night at 8 o'clock Eastern time, and then give me an update on how that goes next walk you do, because I'm curious to see what happens. It would be most important to get information. I don't like to leave anything to chance. The thing is, I always talk about this, and if you follow my channel, you'll see the one video I made. Anyone is encouraged, if you want, check out my channel, ask me some questions. I'm a reward-based trainer that focuses on rescue rehabilitation, so I'd love to hear from you. But in that situation, I would rather get information, because once you have the explosion, you're dealing with the mess, you're dealing with the reactivity, and now your dog's already pinging at a 10 out of 10, and now you're trying to get your dog to calm back down. Instead, let's build your dog up. Don't tear them down, build them up. And so I'd rather them stay 5-10 feet away and just chill out for a few minutes than hope for the best when they engage. And especially if I thought at one point you said she is comfortable. She's not comfortable, by all means, keep them away. Don't be afraid to be vocal, because at the end of the day, I'm going to be brutally honest, and I apologize. People don't know what's best. There's so many people, and I'm not knocking people, but a lot of people will try to go to dog parks to desensitize their dog, to make them feel better, right? My dog is reactive, so I'm just going to go to a dog park, and hopefully my dog just gets better. Most times it doesn't happen, and it's not respecting the boundary. And so I would be more cautious and be like, hey guys, I'm training my dog right now, they're a bit reactive, and if they rebuttal back and say, give them a task, hey, I'm just training my dog, do you mind staying away? If they rebuttal back with a, I'm not acknowledging you, that's when I would just feed them. You know, get the heck away from my dog. Like, are you deaf? Like, what's going on? Because at the end of the day, if my dog attacks your dog, you're going to be running and crying to the city, and you're going to be reporting me. So let's just stop this chaos and just keep your dog away from me. Most people, 99.9%, are going to be completely fine. It's just that 1% you don't care about anyway, because they're just jerks, if I'm being honest. And sorry, Ainsley, I've seen you. I do apologize I didn't get to you yet. Ainsley, if you're still in, when does your German Shepherd start to pull on the walk? And yeah, dog parks, I don't like dog parks whatsoever. I think I make a lot of money from dog parks. That's one of the things. I make a lot because there's always a reactivity on it. So if you have to go, if you're in the city, I live close to Toronto, if you have to go to a dog park, just pick your clique. Make sure you know the people, make sure they feel safe around you, and you can trust them. So in that way, they know the boundaries. More in the middle. So Ainsley, what I would say is, again, I would start paying attention. If you know that your dog is falling apart in the middle, I would start trying to get your dog's attention at the beginning. Dogs will really go outside for a few reasons: foraging, mating, defenses. Like, very few things they go outside for. They're foraging, they're looking to sniff and mark and have fun there. And then mating, they're looking for a partner if they're not neuter or spayed. And then lastly, security. What's scary? What's going to hurt me? What am I going to be cautious for? We can do 2 out of 3. I'm not going to find your dog a partner. That's not going to happen. But foraging, if you find your dog starting to pull at the halfway marker, chances are they could be a little bit amped up. They could be nervous or want to get somewhere. Just come to a stop, and maybe at the beginning of the walk, I would try this. Your dog's walking on the leash. Come to a stop. If you'll know very well, okay, there's this tree that my dog is going to mark at. Find the spot that you know your dog's going to go to. Stop them before that, and then say, yes, okay, and go with them. You're not going to pee on the tree, I hope, but what you're going to do is you're going to forage with them. You're going to go enjoy the moment with your dog. So then that way, your dog doesn't just say, okay, you're releasing me, finally. They're thinking, wait a second, you're enjoying this moment with me. What else can we do? Then you start building up. And so when you get to the halfway point, when your dog starts to pull, You'll be stopping, see what your dog's trying to do. Most times they're working themselves up before you even get to that halfway point. Do you find that they do they pull right out the, like, is there any excitement getting the leash or harness on? Is there excitement at all? Oh, amazing. That's awesome. Let me look at this dog here. It's a beautiful dog. Beautiful pup. It's so exciting when I see dogs. I love it so much because every dog is so unique. Every dog, and everyone tells me, oh, I just got to give in to my dog. My dog's just so beautiful. I say, look, if I had $1 for every time someone had a beautiful dog, I'd be a millionaire. I wouldn't need to work anymore. But Ainsley, does that make sense? Please elaborate if you have any questions on that. I would love to hear more about it because it's one of those situations where most times it doesn't come out of nowhere. If I'm being completely honest, most times it's elevated and it starts. It's kind of like, this is my guilty pleasure. I love motorcycles. I love cars, and I snowball. And so what I tell people all the time is, they say, I start looking at, so I'm looking at getting a car because my car has, almost 300,000 kilometers on it. I'm in Toronto, so kilometers. And so I start looking at a car. My wife would be like, Jack, do you really have time to be looking at this car? If she doesn't catch me, I'm busy. I have 7 days a week. I have multiple businesses. I do this on my spare time. I don't have time to go look at a vehicle, but I snowball. If I looked one day, the next day, well, it's probably a good deal. By the third day, I'm making an appointment to go look. I snowball. You find a reason to do what you want, and anyone who's watching can probably attest to that with something they're into, whether it be a purse, a computer, or whatever. You'll always convince yourself, and you'll snowball. And so don't let your dog snowball. Start when you start seeing your dog fall apart. Boom, shut it down right away. Redirect that energy. Okay, so she gets very excited. She sees like the trees, and then always barks at the people. So great, we're going to desensitize like crazy. In order to get a well-behaved dog, it's not about punishment. It's not about a magic potion. It's not about doing anything other than being consistent. It's setting boundaries. I don't need to yell at people. When I go to people's houses, I run into a lot of bad situations. I run into, one bad situation I ran into is someone was just very abusive towards their dog. The wife would always make excuses. The husband would be abusing the dog, and then she would say, well, he hits the dog. I come in with clear boundaries. Like, we're not doing this. And I'm not going to get mad and yell at you. I'm not going to even judge you. I don't prefer you to beat on your dog, and from now on, you're not going to. But I make clear boundaries. And when you're doing the training, it's clear boundaries. It's not about saying, you're going to stop this, or freaking out. It's about learning the information we have and not putting yourself into a situation where you can't get out of. Have your desensitization. Break it down where your dog is getting calm. So get the leash out, get the harness out. I've probably said this a dozen times already, so I apologize for anyone who's still watching. Desensitize this. Get the harness out, put it away. Put some treats on it, put it away. Because your dog is excited, that's even better. Put it out, dog gets all excited, put it away. Well, what the heck? The key is, don't just get it out and then wait. A lot of people will do that. They'll get it out, they'll wait 5 minutes, and then they take the dog out. Well, now you just made this dog amp up for 5 minutes, and then you take the dog outside. Well, you're just running on pure adrenaline at that point. Desensitize, if that makes sense. Don't be afraid to take your time on it. It's just a matter of taking your time and understanding the information your dog's giving you is very valuable. Sorry, I gotta catch up here. Welcome, guys. Again, I'm Jack from the Dog Coach. If you have questions about your dog's behavior, let me know. I focus on rescues, but I kind of tackle a little bit of everything. Well, if any sort of behavior, really. Yes, bear with me for a second. As I speak about getting excited, I hear my little guy still awake. So hopefully that made a lot of sense for you for your dog, because I know that a lot of times it gets overwhelming, especially when you start predicting it happening. But again, use that tool to your advantage. Sorry, I'm just going to double check this. Sorry guys, welcome. Ask me any question you want about your dog. I'm here to answer the best I can. Just I'm trying to check all my chats all at once. So that's really what it's going to come down to. A lot of times, it's just understanding where the trauma begins, where it starts, and how do we solve it. And it's I know that sounds simple, but your first goal is always going to be making sure you're understanding that there's an issue there. A lot of times we pass those markers, and what I mean by that is your dog's telling you, like, hey, I'm freaking out right now, and we're not picking up on it. We're looking at it, me and the dogs, welcome. We don't pick up on it. We just, I got to get this walk over with. I got to go. I got to get this walk over with. Welcome, Nancy. Michelle, welcome. If you have questions, jump in at any time. We're talking about rehabilitating. We've got leash work. We're talking about getting dogs not to react so much in the middle of the walk, the beginning of the walk, and all the in between. Yeah, the whole premise of just desensitizing is when you take away the corrections, the goal is that it's very hard to stay patient with a dog when you've got a job to do. You're like, I got to go to work, I got to, whatever. But look at the context of training is no different than, say, training for a sport, right? If you were to play hockey, you're not going to go out and play a beer league hockey, and maybe you will, but most people, if they're trying to do a tournament style, they're going to do a bit of practicing, because if the time comes for the game, you're going to be so overwhelmed you're not going to know what to do, because in the reality, if you don't practice, you're not going to get any better. You can't just play the game and expect to play NHL. It doesn't work that way. You got to practice. Well, it's no different with your dog. You're practicing to get a desired behavior. Now, the only difference is that if you're dealing with traumas, then you have to be more on the side of moving as fast as your dog will allow you to. And it's not always about the dog. The dog is a very small portion of it. Most of my training comes down to getting the confidence in the parents. That's the most important part. Because a lot of times it's like, well, my dog pulled me down and now I'm freaking out. What do I do? So I got to work and build up and make sure that my client feels comfortable. And if they feel comfortable, they're picking up on everything. And if they're picking up on everything, the dog's realizing this is the boundary, this is the new foundation that we're going to be working from. Welcome, guys. Jack here from the Dog Coach. I'm a rescue rehabilitator that focuses on reward-based training and force-free. So ask me any question you want. We're talking about leash reactivity. I talked about leash work last night. I didn't really get a whole lot through it because I just kept getting sidelined, and I love it. So we're going to attempt to do it again tonight. Welcome. Check all this stuff here. So basically, when you're trying to figure out what's going on with your dog, once you figure that out, we have the base foundation. I would always bring in, if you're doing positive reinforcement, bring in some cues and markers that you know are an easy win for you or your dog. If your dog knows sit and your dog sits easily enough, use that for the cue. A cue, simply put, is a command. Sit, stay, wait, touch, please, roll over, no, whatever. It's a command. The marker is as soon as they do it. Yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And so for me, what I would say is, before you even start working on stress outside on the leash work, have a base foundation that you know that will work. Don't start bringing stimulation in or trauma when you don't have a base foundation. Because if I don't use any tools of positive reinforcement, if I don't use touch or use look at me, focus, or use sit, if I don't do any of that, the problem comes down to when you try to get outside, now you're working against the clock. You're working against yourself because you have no foundation, you have no footing. If you have something that your dog can say, hey, wait a second, I remember when you say sit, I get a treat for it. Then you have something that's a motivator that your dog can look forward to. Leash work is about, or pretty much any training really, is about the motivator or the trauma. Because I deal with mostly trauma, I always say we have a motivator and trauma. If we get rid of those treats or enforcers or rewards like touching, talking, toys, treats, anything that stimulates your dog, we get rid of that, all we have is trauma. So we got to have a reward system of some sort, whether that's treats, whether that's you petting your dog, whatever the case may be, you have to have a reward system of some sort. Welcome guys, Connor, Sophia, welcome. If you have questions, please let me know. Corey, welcome to the channel. We're going over some rescue stuff and rehabilitation, so ask away. When it comes to my foundation I work with, I always work with touch. I'll say sit a lot, refocus tools, look at me, look at my nose, anything like that. You can shine on anything you want. Whatever you choose to use, go for it, just as long as you're consistent. The reason why I want to be consistent is that when I get outside and I start seeing the trauma, if my dog's not used to it, it's too hard to get my dog back if they don't know the tool you're using. If they've never done sit or touch or focus, you're going outside blind. There's no point doing it. You're better off going into it with a base foundation. Bear with me, guys. Something's shutting down here. Welcome again. Facebook, welcome. So, getting outside. This is going to be the most important part. When you get outside, don't lose the fundamentals that we learned inside. Don't be afraid to call it quits. Don't be afraid to shut it down. Don't be afraid to take a break. In between the lessons when you're training, don't be afraid to stop your dog and get them to sit or do something that's easy to do. Get them to sit, get them to lay down, get them to do something exciting. Reason being for that is because if you can get your dog's mind off of the stimulation, like the dog, the people, whatever the case may be. There's a couple of viewers that said their dog's reactive towards people and dogs. So if that's the situation, get your dog to sit. When you do force-free, and force-free training, what they really focus on, and I love that they focus on that, is that in between the training, they do the fun stuff. They have fun with it. They get the dog to sit, pass paw, roll over, lay down, something random, something that your dog enjoys doing because they know they're getting a reward. That's the positive reinforcement side. And so when you're outside, no different. Start walking for a bit. You see your dog starting to get stressed out, get them to sit, make them look at you, get them to pass paw, get them to do something fun. That way they can kind of reset their brain a little bit, and then you can move on with the next thing. But don't be afraid to trim the fat if your dog is overwhelmed. And welcome guys. If you have questions, I focus on rescues and focus on behavior. Anything with behavior is my specialty. That's one thing I don't do. I don't do like the agility training. I actually got called a few weeks ago, and it was like 3 or 4 people within a week were calling and asked me for agility training, and I don't do agility. I would like to, just I go to people's houses, so what's the point? I can't set up here, jump on the bed, do this. It just doesn't make sense. So I focus on behavior. Yeah, I've been asked about that sort of training as well. I've been asked canine training for security. I don't do security training. What's the other one? Service dog training. I've been asked a lot for service dog training lately. I can do service dog training, just I don't have the qualifications and certifications to actually certify a dog. So what I'll typically do is I'll recommend them to a person that I know I feel comfortable with them going to. There's a lot of great trainers, so I am not the type that's going to be, no, I'm the best trainer in the world, don't go to anybody else. If it's out of my wheelhouse, I will gladly recommend them to a trainer that I know is going to be doing a great job. So I'm not afraid to pass on the work, because there's lots of work out there. Welcome, guys. If you have questions, please let me know. And that was a great question. I do get asked quite often about different styles of training. I focus mostly on reward-based behavior side. I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure what you're saying, my friend. So I guess the big thing with reactivity and leash work is about making sure that you stay calm, making sure that you're understanding where your dog is falling apart, and then building a base foundation on it. This tool I use no different with dog training with leash work as I do with the door control. I had a client, or someone asked earlier about door control. They're asking, what do I do about a dog that's barking at the door all the time? That's a big thing for me, is focusing on why your dog's barking at the door first. It's important to ask yourself, how is my dog feeling before I do this? I know it sounds corny, but get in the mindset of, is my dog overwhelmed? Because if my dog's overwhelmed, I can't train him. I can't stop the behavior if I don't know what's causing it. So the first step is going to be finding out what the why is, and that's the biggest thing. I'm going to write down so I keep on track here. So door control is one of those big ones. Great to do. More so what I would focus on first is trying to figure out what's causing. Is my dog freaking out with everybody? Are they freaking out just with a door knock? What is the case may be. If they're freaking out with everything, then we have lots of work we can do there. It does take a bit of work, so like the person who asked me about that, really hard to answer without seeing the dog. Is the dog being friendly? Is the dog being overwhelming? Say the dog is terrified, I'd be using something as a positive reinforcer. Get the dog away from the door. Every time the dog's focused on the door, redirect the energy. And keep doing that until they say, the heck with the door, what do you got for me? That's when we know we start getting on the right track, when they start focusing on you versus the trauma they're worried about. Welcome, guys. Feel free to join in, ask away if you have questions. I'd love to hear from you. Yeah, sometimes reactivity with the door can get overwhelming for dogs. Question was, what do you do if the dog's not listening, overwhelmed, or staying at the door? It's a question that gets asked all the time. If my dog's at the door, because it's a real situation, what do I do if the dog goes to the door and doesn't leave the door? What I'd be doing there is I'd be going to the door, standing in front, making them look at you, and then give them something to do. Give them something to take their energy out on. Focus on me, get them to sit, maybe do a touch, start guiding them away, and then reward like crazy. It's important that you, if they need help, it's not that they're trying to be bad, like a bad dog. They're not trying to purposely defy you. What they're doing is they're just overwhelmed. So what I would do in that situation, I'd be getting in front, getting the focus. Hey, you're going to be okay. Sit down, give them a treat. Touch, give them a treat. Focus, give them a treat. And slowly start getting them away from the door. It's a great question. Welcome, Curtis. If you have questions, we're talking about rehabilitating dogs who are super overwhelmed over everything. Leash work is where it started, and now we're talking about door control. sorry, Instagram, I can't see who's on, so feel free. It's not giving me very much information. Reach out if you have a question. Let's see why I can't see. Hopefully I'm seeing when people are writing. But I guess leash work is going to be where we're going to finish off. The main focus on leash work is first, get the leash under control. Get your dog in a leash. They look at you, give them 3 to 5 treats. Get them, every time they look at you, yes, good job. Yes, good job. Get them honed in on you, get them fixated on you. Then start walking around the house. Anytime you stop, I want them looking back at you. They look back at you, yes, good job, that's what I'm looking for, reward. Then start adding in stimulation. Before you even get outside, add the stimulation in the house. If your dog is overwhelmed, even putting the leash on, desensitize. Don't be afraid to desensitize first and then break apart the training, because if your dog's already overwhelmed before you even get outside, you've already lost half the battle. Now you're fighting an uphill battle with a dog who's already nervous. So desensitize, then start working on basic foundation. And once you get the basic foundation of your dog, every time you stop, your dog chooses to look up at you, reward. Then what we're going to do from there is then you start getting a family member, a friend, a partner, whoever, start adding stimulation. Again, we're trying to reflect stimulation, whether it be trauma with another dog, whether it be people. We're going to start adding stimulation. And so what I would do there is simply get a friend or a family member, sit there, just crouch down when you're walking. You come around the corner, you crouch down, the dog gets excited, you shut it down. So the person is crouched down, you're holding the dog on a leash, you're not reacting, you're just being patient. Once a dog looks back at you, yes, reward like crazy. What this teaches your dog is that any time that leash goes tight, you should check back in with me. Because how a lot of people do is, or a lot of people struggle with, is when the leash goes tight is usually because there's something around, like a dog, like something. So what we want to do here is we want to start with no stimulation, start getting the dog used to every time the leash goes tight, check in with me. And that's when I would start. Once I get that under control, then I start doing the outside stuff, start working on the trauma. Doesn't take long. It's just a matter of getting a good game plan. And once you have a good game plan and you're sticking to it, it gets easier and easier as it goes along. Yeah, so when it comes to that, the stimulation, so the question was about crouching down. What I'd be doing when it comes to getting your partner or getting a friend or whoever to do the stimulus is take it slow. Don't be getting someone to go, come see me, come see me, come see me, and then the dog's freaking out, because then what's going to happen, you're going to lose control. Your dog's going to be pulling and, oh my god, I want to see that person, and freaking out. Instead, get them to start off small. Get them to start maybe just crouching down, patting their leg a little bit. The dog starts to pull and get curious. If they get too overwhelming, get that person to stand up and reset, and that way you can get control of the situation again. But yeah, don't send them to the wolves and be like, come see me, and freak out, and your dog's just going to lose that battle, because your dog's going to be excited and pulling, and now we haven't built up. Now we've just tore them down. So that's a great question. Welcome, guys. We're pretty much finishing up for tonight. If you have any last minute questions, please don't hesitate. There's been some great questions tonight. Organize this, because I don't think this chat is running properly. That's okay. We'll figure that out another day. I'm not sure if YouTube's getting my messages, but YouTube, by all means, join in. And welcome, guys. My name is Jack. If you haven't met me yet, I'm a reward-based trainer that focuses on rescue rehabilitation. And tonight we're talking about reactivity with leash work, talking about reactivity with base foundation for leash work. So if you have questions before I jump off, there we go, please let me know. Yeah, I focus on reward based. Why? Because to me, I follow basically the science behind it. I'm a forestry trainer that I used to do the other methods. I don't anymore. I just don't feel like they're effective. We have better techniques, and science has proven that. So what I focus on now is I don't get mad at my dogs for making mistakes. I reward when they do something right. What that really does is it creates that active thinker. It makes your dog really want to do right. Dogs are like children. No dog wants to do the wrong thing. They're trying their best, no matter if it's not peeing outside and peeing on the floor, whatever the case may be, they're doing their very best. So it's important that we give them the tools so they succeed, and we don't put them in a deficit. We actually give them something to look forward to. And the more you start getting that brain moving, the more they start trying to do better. It's a great question. Alright guys, I might cut it short tonight because I'm thinking maybe tomorrow night or the next night I might talk about desensitizing clipping the nails. I had my dog Daisy had a really bad experience lately at a groom shop that I wasn't aware of, and so now I'm trying to build her back up because she's terrified of getting groomed. So in maybe the next live I'll talk about that. But if there's any suggestions that you want to hear about, please reach out. Shoot me a message, and I'll make a chat about it. Guys, thanks so much for being part of this again tonight. It's always a pleasure, and I'll probably see you guys again tomorrow night.